Speak Templars. So, how are you? I'm here again, together with Vinicius, and we're going to tell you a little more about our game, Impossible World. We are going to present to you a little of the story of one of our main characters. How did he end up in that world? Anyway, how it all started. But this is just a start, just a preview. If you really want to know much more, you will have to wait. Calm down, it's okay. Now Vinicius is going to tell you a little about the story of this character and our incredible impossible world.
Hello friends, how are you? It's been a while since I spoke to you, right Templars? Well, I'll tell you a summary of Matthew's story. Because if I'm going to go in depth for you to see, you're going to have to share and like this video a lot. Then I'll give you the full story, if you ask for much in the comments. Well, Matthew is a cowboy, right? As you can see in the image. He was from the Wild West era. His world was still in the Wild West era, and he was always a guy, a lone wolf. That type of cowboy, with few friends, very serious, very much in his own corner, not one to talk much, but he also wasn't one to cause problems. And it was always a bar that I liked to drink at, which was the famous Trucker Seca bar. There's always a fight in this bar. There always ends up being confusion. He was having a beer as usual in this bar. However, he noticed something strange that day. The whole city was half empty, there were few drunks in the bar, which is very rare at that time, and not having a drunk in the bar was very strange. So he decides to leave the bar where he was drinking. He saw that there was no one else on the street. He starts hearing screams and goes after people to ask what is happening. Is he running with the townspeople? I was running desperately. Then one of the people points to the sky. And when he looks in the direction, he notices that the sky is getting weird. It's changing color, it's glowing purple, and so he gets closer instead of running like everyone else. He was always such a brave guy. It gets to be stupid. He was always the guy who threw himself into danger. Just stop being curious too, without being afraid of anything. He goes ahead of what is happening to get a better look. When he gets closer, it starts. He sees that light is getting closer, getting closer, getting closer. When he sees a blast of purple energy hits him directly in the chest. He blacks out, and when he regains consciousness, he realizes that his world is no longer the same. Like, now he can start to see some weird creatures that he's never seen in his life, a giant lizard flying, breathing fire, a giant robot fish creature. He saw things he had never seen. He decides to walk. He starts to explore better. He starts to walk around that place to see what is happening, looking for information, and what he decides to explore to see the changes in what happened that day in his land. Where he lives, he ends up finding buried in the middle of the earth a metal stone, shaped like an egg. To him it was a stone or something like that. An egg-shaped metal bar, right? He wanted to see what it was. He decides to take it from the earth, and as besides being brave, he was also very curious, he decides to study. He spends time studying that rock, that egg. And you start to notice changes. There comes a time when this egg hatches and a little dragon comes out, which is the dragon you see him riding. That robot dragon, and he was trying to study it, see what that creature was, his thirst for knowledge, his curiosity to know what that thing was. He ends up getting attached and building a friendship with the little dragon, and he decides together with the dragon. Set out to explore this world, see the changes that have happened, and understand where he fits in this world. And in his travels around the world, he ends up in a place that has a dungeon. Now after what happened, it is in dungeons, which are places where monsters and other things appear. It started to become an accessible and interesting place for people, because by killing the monsters in that place, you earn money. An easy way to make money is by going to that place, passing by. He ends up seeing a group of adventurers being chased by a gigantic mech piloted by a man who was left, and next to him there was an alien and a merman in his group who were implicated with the other group that had a cleric, a rogue, and a warrior who were just returning from the dungeon. And Matthew passing by, the guys accidentally end up confusing him with an ally from the other group, and end up attacking him to defend himself, and he fights together with his dragon. And discovers in the middle of the fight that he has magical aptitude. Look, who would have thought that the cowboy who has never seen magic in his life, releases magical powers out of nowhere and ends up seeing that he has a strong connection with magic, he ends up saving this group. Does he get mad at the group? You guys got me in trouble, are you crazy? Then he ends up fighting, arguing, but in the end he ends up talking to this group. He ends up identifying a lot with them and discovering that they have the same goal, which is to find out what is happening. Why is that world so different? Because there are several things that weren't supposed to be there, several cultures, several things that are not part of any of them reality. They agree on one thing and will try to solve the mystery of the explosion and collision of realities. And that's it. A brief summary of Matthew's story. A cowboy who lived alone, drinking beer in a bar, out of nowhere, ends up in a place where there is a metallic dragon, alien mechas and other things, and ends up making friends with a group he never thought he would make in his life. A group full of weirdos and one to go in search of adventure and knowledge.
And if you want to discover much more, really learn the story of Matthew, the game, the origin of that world, the history of the other characters. To do this, you have to continue following our videos, right? You have to follow our project. And now a little surprise gift for you.
In the game of life, we are all established players.